All right, we are back. Initiate, PRs, Cult of Larry Draft League. I believe we are in season 5.
Season 5 indeed. Your favorite initiate mods, the only ones who can tolerate all of you, are
Yeah,
back.
that's true. Tolerate is a key word. You got Helix here, uh, not the furry guy, and
And do you have Kelpo, your favorite and least favorite helper?
the person who updates the doc the most. All right.
Indeed.
So we'll hop into PRs here. Nothing is in order. We'll just kind of talk about each team as we go through. Some of you have some great teams. Some of you have some teams that probably could use a little improvement, but we won't rag on them too much for you. And with that, we'll just start in the draft order with uh, a returning team here. The same returning team. Is this
Yeah.
season 4?
So, so this team has several pieces from last time. Eruption once again drafting Rain with Zapdos, Pelipper, Mega Swampert, uh, and Overquill, I believe, are the only returning ones. I don't think any of the others were on there last season. But very clearly a return to what is comfortable, what is familiar. No Terra Dracovish this time because we're only doing lower tier Terras.
Yep. Um, Pelipper, I think. I mean, I would have thought it would have been Overquill. Would have been the Terra. Also, Overquill, I think, is 6 points. We definitely botched that. That mon is like a 8 or 9 pointer. It's so good. So, really good job.
Overquill with Terra, I believe, is like 9 points.
It's
I think it's a
still
bit more expensive,
it's
so I
still
think
such
that's
a good
why.
mon at 6 points. What a grab that was. So our criticism of Eruption last time was a lot of, hey, this is only functional in rain. I think it's better this time. I think can still lean a little heavy rain, but it's definitely not as bad. I'm a huge Avalugg Sui Terra fan. I think Avalugg fills a similar role, so I'm sure it'll be pretty useful. Just those big fat stat mons are so useful to Terra, especially Avalugg's typing, just being ice, is not a great defensive typing, so swapping it out is really good. In the team in general, from what I'm looking at, it's not bad. I think I don't think Val's a number one pick in my opinion, but if you like it,
Really?
yeah, I think you go Pult or honestly a couple other. I'd have to look at the board. Pow, Zama C, I think are all I prefer. I
Well,
don't think they're. I don't know if people would say they're better, but it's. I know people love Val.
Zamazenta Crowned made it to round 3 in this draft,
Yeah,
and
we don't
Qian
talk
Pao
about
made it
that,
to
huh?
round 2.
Yeah, we don't talk about those things.
So I think some of our initiates would disagree with that assessment. What I will say is my main issue with this team is there's no fairy switching at all. Your dragon type, or excuse me, your steel type is also a dragon, and your poison type is also a dark type. So, what are you switching into a really powerful fairy move? And the answer is nothing. You have to bring Terra Steel, or you essentially have to bring a fairy resist as one of your Terras pretty much every week if you're fighting a good fairy type.
Yeah, but
Um,
Moonblast is still even on these like Avalok Hisui has paper thin special, or Avalok just regular has special defenses like 20. It's
well,
46. I mean, a Moonblast with your
Pelipper's
steel just flattens you.
and Pelipper is more physically defensive than special as well. So it is. I think it's very spammable into this team. I don't think there is a. I think any fairy coverage you can run on anything is going to be brought, and you're going to have a really hard time switching into that sort of thing.
Yep. I think
Um,
some other things to look at, maybe if you make some changes, is to get a second rocker. that is not called Mega Swampert because if you're running Rain, you really don't want to waste a turn on that using
Well, that's
Rock.
that's what Clefable's there for. But
Yeah,
I
but
will say Clefable is the cleric of the team, and it is going to have to be the rocker most weeks because you don't you're going to be running Mega Swampert with, probably like, bulk up or flip turn and then, waterfall, earthquake, whatever, ice punch usually for coverage. Like it's very hard. Mega Swampert never wants to have rocks on it. Um and your Clefable is already going to be fighting uh for moves. You don't want to have to force it to bring rocks every week. So I would agree. There are technically two rockers, but I definitely think that there should be another one that actually wants to have rocks on it.
I will say the team is not really super hazard weak. So defog on Pelipper and Zapdos, being your most reliable forms of recovery, aren't that big of a deal. Like rocks into this team are debatably not even worth a turn. Spike's pretty solid, but
Spikes are very good, yes.
yeah, but not that big of a deal. But I definitely think for Eruption, this is a step more in the right direction, which is great.
Oh, for sure. I mean, there last season there was definitely redundancies in terms of physical water type rain sweepers, and this time there's definitely been an improvement of diversifying, what can get brought, and I personally think rain's probably going to get brought almost every week. I don't really see a scenario in which you don't run it into a team, just because the team is a lot better with rain, and you're kind of limited without it. Um, Something else that I think eruptions should be aware of, just as a potential danger, there is no freeze dry switch in on this team either. It's not as common as just any fairy type move, but your Pelipper and Swampert both take neutral to just a regular ice move. Avalugg resists it, but if it's a special ice move, it doesn't really resist it.
No, it doesn't.
So just something to keep in mind is that if and again, your steel type is a dragon, so yeah, your Gudra is going to be taking neutral from those hits, which Gudra is very bulky. Um, so it can take those hits, but it's more about, if your Gudra is, well, we'll say assault vest, and it's having to sponge every moon blast, every ice beam, like you're not going to last very long
No.
in a game like that. So I think it's important that looking forward, maybe we look at a steel type that isn't Hisui and Gudra, or just something that can take those offensive hits just a little bit better.
All right, team two. All right, it's Stee. It's the cat team. Not much to say except
This
it's
is the
cat.
best team. It's the best team. I mean, what more could you ask for? You have all of the cats. Is this not just the ideal?
It's pretty great. As you know, this is a Masters level team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, before we honestly debate the team, I think our main debate is Mega Manetric a cat? I think it might be a dog, but
I always thought Mega Manetric, or just Manetric, I always thought they were like a jaguar, or like a big, like one of those like big, like maybe like a lynx, and those are cats. I don't actually know. Um, I know this server just recently found out that Venusaur is a frog,
all
so
right, that's
I
A12. That's that. We don't talk about that, man. Yeah, Steve's team's a meme team. It'll be fun to use. It's very funny. It's a lot of offense, which
it's a
can
ton of offense, but it's so fast. This team is so fast.
yeah, it's really fast. 143, 135. I mean, cats are fast. 143, 135, 123, 115,
No, they are,
115.
but it's like if I was preparing for this team, I don't think I wouldn't put speed on most things. I don't think it's just not worth it, because even if you outspeed one thing, you're just not going to outspeed like the other ones. I I genuinely think most people who play into this team are just gonna go max HP on all six, just
Probably.
because it's just so much offense.
Uh,
And you have some utility in Lipard and Meowstic and in Alolan Persian and Cineroar. Landorus can be kind of bulky, but it this is definitely going to be a very pivot heavy, very fast, very HO
oh yeah,
type of team every week.
which is fine. But all right, Raikou, Persianula. Raiku's a great Terra captain in this, obviously, since it has Terra Blast now in DLC 2. So you can do ice, water. If you do water, you just keep Scald, or you do grass. So all good. There's no Steve. Your team's funny. We're not gonna spend a whole lot of time on it though.
It's my favorite one.
It's
So
so good.
you're the winner in my heart already.
Um, Cliffy got clipped the paper clippers. This is actually a Terra Swadloon, but I was speeding through making these, so apologies. How could I forget such an important mon?
You say that. Terra Swadloon it's deceptively bulky if you get rid of its god awful typing. You slap an Eviolite on that thing, you let it infest you and set up some iron defenses. That thing for like the 1 point that it is, I think it can do something. I want it to do something.
Well, I hope it does. But the rest of this team is, it kind of just looks like very. It's just a balance, just a quintessential balance team, which is great.
And it's so hard to prep for too. Like you have a Dragapult and a Mew on one team.
Yeah, it's
Like
tough.
the variance in sets that can be brought just between those two. That's not even counting, offensive versus defensive Gliscor. You have a Terra Comfey and a Terra Rotom fan that can get brought. I think this team is it's definitely very balance oriented, which it's I think that's kind of boring. I'd rather you either go full stall or full HO, but
No, no, never stall. The only thing I will say is the team is missing breakers. Pult is, you have to slap a band or you gotta, set up. Specs is great, brain dead, but it's not really there's no breaker. It's gonna have to be, win by committee and hazards, which he's got three.
I mean,
Very
Calm Mind Comfey is a pretty good breaker,
Yeah, but
especially
it's.
with
I mean, you gotta
Terra.
set. You gotta set. I'm talking about a
Oh yeah,
140,
okay.
a
I there
145 button mashing.
Okay,
Click
fair.
button, have
You
fun.
do, yeah, you do. Okay, yeah. There is a lack of brain dead press button. A lot of the offensive pieces do require some setup.
Which isn't
Uh,
a bad thing because that is also a nightmare to prep for. I think the speeds on this. If I don't believe speed tiers are a real thing, but this speed here is great with just Pult, Mew, Gliscor, Ace. Comfey is fake speed, but you also got to be a little worried about stored power speed, so you got to kind of prep for that, anyways. I mean, it's a very solid, balanced team. An excess amount of defog, which is great
oh yeah, no,
here.
you are never getting hazards up on this team
Yeah, there's just. I
against
mean,
this team. There's no way. Like
you don't really. I mean, I guess rocks would be solid, but he doesn't even. He could always just run court change on Ace and not have to
I was
worry
gonna say,
about.
yeah, like if Ace just runs court change, then then nothing else has to run defog, and yeah, it's and again, but like unless Ace, like if Ace, unless Ace isn't running boots, or maybe the Rotom fan isn't running boots, like that's really all that's gonna care about rocks. I don't think anyone should really bother with
No,
hazards against this team.
you're super ice
Uh,
weak, but who isn't?
it
Super
is
ice
pretty
and
ice weak,
super.
although Empoleon is a very good ice check.
It's a great ice check. Yeah, you're right.
Especially like just pivoting between like U-turn Gliscor and flip turn Empoleon is
It's
not
a really tough
fun.
core to break. Yeah.
especially when you have a Regenerator Amoonguss sitting there and a Wish passing Umbreon. No, this team can be really fat if it wants to.
Yeah, fat and just enough to set up with multiple options. When it's just a really good team. I think overall balance. This is I'd have to put without looking at the other teams, and I haven't done much of my homework this season. I've been busy. Sorry, boys and girls, but this is a really good balance team. I think this is going to be a tough one to beat week over week over week. So
I would agree with that.
all right, yeah, good team here, Clippy, and also great name. Bald Spot in the Sunnyside Simipour, who drafted Simipour. So that's gotta love the mascot pick.
Terra Simipour, I think is gonna be slept on by a lot of people.
It gets nasty
Um,
plot, doesn't it?
it does. It gets nasty plot. I don't actually know if it gets the. I don't think it gets Terra Blast. So
I don't think they're
you
in
are
Gen
still
9. Yeah.
yeah. So you are still dealing with Simipour's move pool, which is like what Hydro Pump and Ice Beam. That's it, really.
Give it the Radical Red treatment where it gets Guerrilla Tactics, but special.
Ooh.
It's pretty sweet.
Um, I mean, you know what? It gets Focus Blast. It gets Grass Knot. It's not.
Oh, okay. It's not, it's not the worst. This
You
is
can you
another.
can run four moves. You can
This is
run four moves on
yeah.
it.
This is like a slower balanced team than the last one, with with a couple more, um, with a little with a couple breakers instead. It sacrificed the speed for breakers from the last team and a little bit of bulk. Still, like Alola, Motom, Muck, Jirachi, Zygarde can all be pretty bulky. But the adding in the Deontay does just is a nuke at 160 on both sides, and Porygon at 135 with adaptability does a ton of damage. I was a little surprised to see Porygon Z as the Terra captain, because I know adaptability works funky with Terra. I think if you Terra out of normal, it takes away that adaptability. But I don't know the exact mechanic of it. But thought that was a little odd. Thought you would have gone Talonflame with a Swords Dance Terra Blast set, but I don't know. I think it's a pretty solid team. I really loved using Slithering whenever I've had it.
I haven't gotten to use Slitherwing yet, so I can't speak on how good it is. But it is a breaker. It is a very good first impression spammer. I definitely think that the speed tiers for this team. I know you said they're kind of fake, but I do think they're pretty good. Like 126 is a great speed tier. Then you have a 110. You have something faster than 100. They're pretty even. Zygarde, I even without Shed Tail, unfortunately, is still really good. You
Zygarde
can
gets Shed
you can.
Tail?
No, I was saying I
Oh,
was
without
alluding.
using it,
I
yeah.
drafted I drafted it
Oh
with
yeah,
Cyclizar last season with Shed
it's
Tail,
so
but
fat you can click substitute. I'm pretty sure.
yeah, no, it doesn't. You don't need it,
I was like, I
even
thought it was
though
a snake mod. Did it get Shed Tail? Did I miss that? Oh yeah,
I
it's so
I
good.
really wish it did.
I'm just glad it can't Terra. But
It's not having Terra is definitely brings it back down to earth. Although I think I mean between that and Mega Dancy, you there is a lot of setup. Even with the really solid breakers, I think the setup on this team is just as scary.
oh yeah, you have to prep for Sword Power Jirachi every time, and you really have to prep for Curse. Muck Alolan Muck. Two of those can just win the game on a spot, and you almost have nothing you can do about it. But this is another I think a really solid team. Nothing like you guys are drafting well so far. These are good teams.
Yeah, yeah, no, I definitely I don't think there's a team in this division that I looked at and was like, ew. Like they were all like they were all definitely put together well for what they were going for.
Yeah, I mean this is solid. The bul- the bulky your water Simipour, but I mean worst thing it seems. Oh no, Evolve. What am I talking about? Yeah, no, this team's solid. This is a very solid team. again, good team. I like it. All right, so we had heavy rain. This is heavy terrain.
This is I drafted Tapu Koko round
Mm.
1 and
Oh, I forgot to take
just
out
picked.
semi poor. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
My speed doing this correctly, semi poor got left in. Sorry. Let me make sure.
Did that paste over something? No, there's just a semi-pour there.
Cool. So you don't have semi poor. Just letting you know.
So
But it's
yeah, no semi-pour, but everything else. I mean, terrain, electric terrain, I think is good. I don't know that I would have drafted this many abusers of it. I probably would have like. I mean, Sneasler's like just great, regardless. Even if you didn't have seed with terrain, I think you can just have Sneasler on your team.
Yeah, Sneasler doesn't need terrain, but it definitely helps to have it. Give you
And
that
then
option.
Bundle and Boulder, I think are. I probably would have just picked one or the other.
You can have
Um,
both.
I mean, you can, but your team is gonna be like this team is really ground weak.
Yeah, but I will say, Tangrowth is a great earthquake absorber. And
It's not a great Earth power absorber though.
no, it is not. But Mandibuzz is a fantastic earth power
Yes,
absorber.
Mandibuzz, but then the question becomes, well, if both of your ground switch-ins are ice weak, then I'll just press an ice move, and then
True. Your
only water type is Bundle, so your ice resists are not great. Your steel type is a dragon type, which, as we discussed with Eruption's team, you don't really want your ice switching to be that to be a dragon. So and then your fire type is Pyroar, so that's ice and ground. I think are going to be very bad for this team in most cases. Chimecho's there, which I think it's supposed to be.
I think it's a Terra.
I think the Pyroar and the Chimecho are both supposed to be Terra.
Chimecho is a really useful Terra captain for the points. I know. Pyroar
for 2 points it's value, but I don't know. I would be hesitant to. And the other problem is too, like, well, if you want balloons, then you lose your terrain.
Yeah.
You don't get your terrain boost, so it's tough. I think aside from the glaring ground and ice weaknesses, I do think this team is very good. I think that it's incredibly fast. It doesn't. If you have terrain, I think you're gonna break most teams without needing a setup.
Yeah, it's
a lot of their.
It's gonna be tough to deal with if you can get terrain up and then banded and specs, bundle and boulder respectively. You're fast. You're gonna hit hard. And then you kind of just have to. You only need a certain amount of chip for a Swords Dance Sneasler to kind of rip through a team.
Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be a very top heavy. It's going to be Coco, Bundle, Boulder, Archaludon, Sneasler, and then maybe Palisand. Maybe for Terra?
Well, you're gonna have to bring Tangrowth or Mandibuzz, or otherwise you don't have an ice switch in. So, or a ground switch in,
yep.
which I and you can Terra Palisand into something fun that maybe checks it, but that's still like that's a band-aid on a.
Gotta win before that.
Third degree. Or it can be like Steve's team where every game is going to end in like 10 turns, one way or the other.
This is going to be a quick game for most teams. They're either going to just absolutely get bowled over, or the bulk that they have is gonna be able to push through Bundle Boulder, Sneasler, and then an Ice type may just clean up. But this is it's definitely it feels like hyper offense with a little bit of bulk thrown in at the end of the
At
draft
the when the person drafting realized, oh wait, I don't have an earthquake. I don't have an earthquake switch in.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did when he grabbed Tangrowth. But yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
which
I think I don't I think this is Riff. Is this Riff Walking's first time playing with us in Initiate?
I believe so. I
Yeah.
think they did. I think they did Cucumber.
Oh, so yeah,
But
Riff might be just a hyper offensive player, and I mean, a team like this, I could easily, as crazy as it is, we've seen the balance in good teams. A team like this could easily win, very quickly in every game. It's that scary to prep for. I just think the games are gonna go fast.
yeah, no, I mean, if this team gets like a good double and gets momentum going, it can easily just run away with it.
Yeah, it could be a win or lose on the first mon out, but
On the first, yeah, no, lead is going to be crazy important.
you can't lead Coco every time.
Yeah, no, you can't. People are gonna start reading that really
But
quick.
I like it. I think it would be fun to play with this team. I think it might be difficult, but I think it's going to be a fun one to watch play here. But okay, on to Kurt Schultz and the Buffalo Blazekins. And I do know this one is only Terra because Jolteon was expensive at 15 points.
Oh yeah, 15-point Terra. Which I mean, I can see why it's a good Terra for sure.
And you have Palafin Hero, but I gave you Baby Palafin because, again, I was rushing to get these done because we told you we'd have them done, and I was not doing these on Friday night.
So this team looks really similar to our runner-up from last season in Initiate, I believe.
Who finished second? Was it Green?
No, it was Cut It Out.
I couldn't remember if it
Yeah,
was Green.
they had Palafin, Tinglu, Moltres, Hatterene. I think their Scizor was Mega, and I think they had an Ahiligo too. So
But
like,
that
I
was
mean, that's
Terra Moltres. Yeah.
it was Terra Moltres, but I mean the point though is that like there's still a lot of those pieces reappeared here,
Yeah.
and so when I was watching this team get drafted, I was like, oh my god, that's like very similar. Which and that team did very well. So
Yeah.
and I think
this is another balanced team though, which is
for
nothing
sure.
wrong with that.
I mean, Tinglu is amazing hazard setter, incredibly bulky.
It's
Very
my most drafted mon in Gen 9.
Tinglu is I'm a very big Tinglu fan. Palafin is not fun to prep for ever.
I hate that mon. I hate that mon so much.
It's so good. It's so
Yeah, it's
like
so broken.
when you're calcing Jet Punch damage against anything that isn't water absorb or like something like a Tangrowth or
It's not even that. Well, Tangrowth gets absolutely chewed by Boom Burst.
Well, right, yeah, that's the other thing too. Is you run like a mixed life orb or even Specs. You could even run Specs.
Yeah.
It has over
I've seen
100
Throat
special
Spray.
attack. Throats. Oh my, yeah, that.
It's good.
I don't know.
It's a great mon.
It
This
deserves
team's
to
good.
be. It is. It's really good. I mean, just the just looking at the priority on the team, like you have Scizor Bullet Punch, you have Rillaboom Grassy Glide, and you have Palafin Jet Punch. Like that's so obnoxious to deal with.
I'm a big Hat believer. I think Hat is a great.
Hatterene is very good.
I think Hatterene's much better in draft than I think people give it credit for. I know it's for like what is it, 10 to 12 points usually. I think it's a pretty good, a good grab.
We had it. I think non-Terra it's 10. I think we put it at like 15 for Terra. I think it was one of the more expensive Terra ones.
Yeah, it makes sense. That big old
Which-
1/3. It's fat except for HP and speed, but it's good. I like the Nihilego on this team because he didn't have a like a faster. You have Jolteon who's going to be kind of limited. I think Nihilego gives you a couple extra options of utility that's fast and can snowball with like a scarf and hitting getting Toxic Spice up. So I thought that was a nice grab late in the draft here for him.
Yeah, I'm Scizor too. Scizor made it to round 7.
I know, nothing makes sense in Initiate. Zamazenta Crown made it to round 3. Pow wasn't even the second pick. Wasn't even like the top 2 picks in round 2. It's crazy. But yeah, I mean this is another. It's kind of just a very basic middle ground, balanced team. It's good. I think it's gonna, it's a lot of balance in Initiate this season, which is great. It's, I hope the games are good, because balance sometimes can lean kind of one way or the other on these. So I like it. I mean, it's a balanced team I would draft. So do like this.
Yeah, as much as I complain about balance, it is typically what I draft, and for good reason. It's very safe. It's very I think every mon here can be justifiably brought to like a lot of matchups. I don't think you can ever completely discount anything. Like, maybe the Ninjask, although
if it was Terra, we'd be talking.
If it was Terra, but it's not. It is because I think it's Terra's more expensive than the 1 point it was picked up for. So
you're definitely not clicking EQ on this team very much. I'll tell you that.
Oh no, you're not. Yeah, the one. I mean, Nihiligo loves that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, there's like nothing else cares at all.
Jolteon, even in ice form, does not really want to take an EQ at 65-60. It's pretty.
Jolteon doesn't really want to take anything ever because it's super frail. But
yeah, 95 special defense is more than you'd think. But yeah. All right, guys, another good balance team. What do we have next? Is it balance? Nope. No.
It's the two.
It's the bullshit team. What is how? How did this happen?
I mean, okay, so
this is gross.
Okay, so I feel as though Kieran Black. I love Kieran Black. It's really good. It's really good. It can't DD, and it's really good. It's not. It's like Kyurem, in which you never want to prep for it, ever.
I think
no matter what team you have.
Priced it. The whole argument we had with this versus Baxcalibur, I think, in Nat decks, Kyurem Black is so good. It with Roost, the mix sets, you can still scale shot to boost the speed. Like, that's the big issue is 95 speed, but you hit that 170, 120. I mean, look at those stats: 125, 170, 100, 120, 90, 95. It's a box art. I mean, it's so good. I don't care. It's great. I think this team in general is just a nightmare to prep for.
It is very tough to prep for, and I will say, and I know I got some pushback on this when we were discussing. I think you brought up the Baxcalibur argument. I think Baxcalibur is fraudulent. I think that thing is on borrowed time. I would never draft it. I think it's garbage for the points that you're getting it for. Kieran Black is just incredible. And then you third round grab Zamazenta Crowned, which another box art, and wow, look at those stats.
Yeah, another just nasty mon.
This team is really hard. Oh, and we were so distracted by that. You have an Amorous, which it can't Terra, but yeah, your Dragon Steel Fairy core looks really fun.
I mean, his big weakness was ground with like Galar and Zamazenta. Both didn't really want to take earthquakes, but Zamazenta at +1 doesn't really care unless it's like stab and something really high. So you got Thwacky, making this much more difficult to just spam Earthquake. I mean, it's a short roster, but it's a roster of 7 months that could come every week, potentially 8. I it's just it's top heavy, which is fine. I think in this current meta, everything plays so fast that that's totally fine.
Well, I
You're
mean,
gonna have a hard time outpacing this team.
even if even if you correctly identify what six are being brought, those six are still gonna you're still gonna have to beat those six. Like it doesn't really matter. Like if the first six get brought 9 weeks in a row, you're still gonna have to break Kieran Black, Zamazenta Crowned, and an Amorous, which good luck. I don't think that uh, a lot of teams are gonna be properly equipped to deal with it.
No.
There's just so much inherent power. Which, by the way, we talk about like it can't Hiram can't Dragon Dance. It's like, oh, you have to scale shot. No, you don't. You put a choice band on it.
Yeah.
The weaken the dragon switch in a little bit and just outrage. What's taking that besides a fairy? Genuinely, like what?
Yeah, not much. I mean, your fairy killers are Heavy Slam and Sludge
Yeah,
Bomb,
and then
Sludge Wave.
hey, you have incredible fairy switch-ins. So I think this team is gonna do very well. I
Yeah, I think this is a tough one. It's crazy. And we didn't really talk about Greninja just hanging out in the back to battle
it's just
bond.
yeah, just a battle bond Greninja just hanging out.
Not a
Not
lot.
even.
It's funny as you look at it and like draft player clicks Volt Switch U-turn. You don't really want to click Volt Switch or U-turn on this team. You want something to come in and take even resisted 30 to 40% right away. And it's going to add up very quickly. And you click recover, you can only do that so often. So yeah, I think Omnic, this is gross. I don't know how you got Zamazenta in the third round, and then Greninja in the sixth. So not much else needs to be said. This is good. Gross, really.
Yeah, very, very good draft.
Hysterically, another of the mod squad here. Um, this is a U-turn team.
This team has so many of my like just obscurely fun Pokemon that I enjoy using. Like I love using Mega Beedrill. I think Mega Beedrill is really fun. I love Silvally, Ambipom's great, Tentacruel's great. Uh Iron Thorns with Terra, I think is great. This I really like this team. It has problems. But I really do love this team.
I think hysterically was just picking mons he wanted to use. I think he said that. He's like, I just want to use new mons, stuff I hadn't tried before. Um, I mean, Silvally a great just piece to have in general. There's no steel, so I'm assuming that's going to be Silvally steel a lot, but
Well, there's no ground either, so you kind of
yeah.
you do have to be careful with
Well, it's funny. Silvally's basic. It's like it's not a Terra type, but it's almost a Terra type with
I mean,
multi attack, and you can pick anyone you want. And then you have Thorns, which can be a pretty good Terra Steel or Terra Ground.
or ground. Yeah, those are both. I definitely think Thorns is gonna have to cover one of those weaknesses a lot of weeks, while Silvally covers the other one.
Which is fine.
But yeah, I mean, it'll become very predictable, but it's still probably the best answer you have without, swapping things out. Which, honestly, for this team, I don't know. I don't know that I would change a thing. I think it's a goofy enough collection of a lot of draft bonds that I feel like should get used more than they do. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for this team. I don't know how well it'll do overall, but I am excited for it.
I think honestly, when you if you see this team, the first thing I'm doing is grabbing all my Defiant and competitive mons. 3 parting shot users.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, this is fun. Mian Shao I think is also a slept on fighting type for the points you get. Just Life Orb Regenerator does do a lot of damage. Knock off
Oh,
and
and
turn.
yeah, and great speed tier as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, this is a fun team. I think it's got a lot of fun pieces. I love Grafii personally. I use Thundy T in a lot of drafts. I think if you could get some sort of weather with it, especially ice or hail, snow, whatever we're using, that weather ball becomes great. But yeah, I like this team. I think it's gonna be pretty good. You can just run screens, kind of offense, gouging fire, dragon dance, and you might just win games that way.
We didn't even really talk about Gathering Fire. I mean, Gathering Fire is like really good. You get, I mean, I think Grafii gets Rain Dance and Sunny Day. I think it gets the weathers.
It definitely gets rain dance. I know that because I got on a meme
Okay, it does
game.
get
I
Rain Dance.
critted turn
Oh,
one
it
when you
gets
click it.
it gets Sunny Day as well. So you
Oh,
can
okay.
run. You
Prankster.
can. I mean, yeah, you could easily run like a Prankster Weather Rock, like
Yeah, no
Parting
problem.
Shot, Grafii, and then set up your either your Thunderous or Gouging Fire to close out a game.
Yeah, this is good.
Get some.
I think it's got some pretty decent mons to use. You're definitely not bringing toxic spikes against it, but this is good. I think it's a fun team. And then let's see who is next. Is it? I thought it was GDP. Um, Terra Dox Bun. Interesting. I think that must have just been with the points he had left.
Yeah, so I mean, I can give a little bit of inside baseball on this team because I was consulted during grace period about it, but yeah, essentially he picked a lot of high point things in a row, and with the remaining points he had to kind of figure out what was open, what he could grab from the lower tiers that could fill some of the big holes in the team. Which I think Pterodoxpon is fine for what this team needs it to be, which is just a fairy type. You just need a fairy type that can take a hit sometimes.
I just don't ever see it. I just don't see it coming that much. I think Torterra Smash is or defensive Torterra.
Oh yeah, no, Torterra is definitely going to be the Terra like most weeks, but I think there's a good argument for Doxpon to come
Oh yeah,
just as a Doxpon, just
yeah.
normal.
I would say the main reason for it to come he drafted in Shifu, but um, yeah, it does feel just it's gonna be the first 4 and
And
Torterra,
yeah,
and
and then you decide, yeah,
I
yeah.
think Jealous. I've never used Jellicent, and on paper, Jellicent always strikes me as like, oh, it shouldn't be that bad. It's got a usable special attack, it's got a fat HP stat, and it's got a good special defense stat. Like it shouldn't be bad. And it's got like Willow and Recover.
Strength sap.
Does it have Strength Sap?
Yep.
Oh wow. It's like I mean,
Strength sap, Will-O-Wisp, Hex, Scald, Recover. Like it's deceptively bulky. It can acid armor too to fix its really bad physical defense. Its HP and
Pringles
special
Man.
defense are already very good. Jellison I think is very good.
I just want to use it. I frequently run into my issues. I just don't draft a water like that. I should.
mm,
And alright, I don't prioritize a ghost. I probably should. But I think GDP drafted a fine team. I mean, I think for GDP's big issue is going to be not running the same 6, 7 sets all season and mixing it up so people don't get used to it and prep for them that way.
I
Um,
would agree with that. Although I will say, even if you're expecting the same Urshifu single and Kyurem sets every week, it's still a Kyurem and an Urshifu. So it they can just run away with games.
yeah, they can.
So
I love Salazzle. I call it Old Greg. If you catch the reference, good on you. If not, go watch Old Greg on YouTube. It's classic. It's one of my favorite mons to use in draft. I think we had it like 8 points, so it's a good steal. For how many points it was,
Mega
it does.
Scizor was, I think, 17 points, but it is very good.
No, yeah, Mega Scissors is great, but yeah, it's just Uxi's kind of like the defensive backbone of this team. Um, Gets in and out, hits, takes a hit, hits U-turn, clicks rocks, T-wave, all very usable, but rather you know simple, but not a bad thing. It's a very useful mon, and it's pretty fast for being as thick as it is.
Yep. It is definitely a top heavy team, but I think that it can work well.
I mean, it's not being top heavy is not a bad thing. Papa Jabo, Greece, scores. Yeah, this is a Sun and a half team, but it's a really, really good Sun team. Mega Pidgeot is like the best. It's gonna sound silly. I think it's like the best Mega for Sun. I think it's better than Houndoom, just because can't miss Hurricane, not affected by the Sun, is so good against those grass types that want to come in, and on the other teams that have random chlorophyll. Um, the random chlorophyll abusers. So I don't know. There's a lot of pieces I like on it. Terra Lucario, just clicking, checking the calcs on it is actually quite good. That's why it was 14 points. And I love the Drapion pick.
Drapian's very good. I think, yeah, Terra Lucario is incredible. Even if you don't want to run the optimal Terra Normal SD Extreme Speed, I mean, you can Terra into just about anything, and it's you as long as you're getting a free turn of setup out of the Terra, I think it should be brought every week, even if it doesn't really care about the Sun. Um, Great Tusk is Great Tusk. I don't think we really need to elaborate on that very much.
Same thing with Chiyu. Button. Chiyu might be
Just
the ultimate
yeah.
button pressing mon.
I mean, Walking Wake too. It's like that. If you're like Specs Chiyu or Specs Walking Wake, or even like a Banded Tusk, like it's so hard to switch into it. Even if you have a team that can resist the hits, it's so hard to switch into.
Yeah, I think this is I mean, it is a heavy weather team, um, but I think it's gonna be a tough one to prep for every answer. I think your special wall is gonna be you're gonna need a couple in the game, because if your first one goes down, a Scarf Wake or a Scarf Chiyu in the Sun may just run you down very quickly.
Yeah, it's really tough. I really like the Sun team. I think that I mean, you're gonna have to bring Sun every week, but it doesn't really
That's the plan.
care. Yeah, like it's sort of like it's sort of like Omnic's team, in that like this is what's gonna happen every week, and
Try to stop
there's
it.
there's only yeah, it's like there's only so much you can do about it, even if it becomes predictable. So
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of this team, and
I think
I'm
this team
very
would be
excited.
fun to play. My only concern obviously with it is if something happens to Torkoal early and you don't get a second round or third round of Sun Up. I think it may struggle a bit, and we'll see. It is not a bad team by any means. I think it's this will be a fun one to watch as it goes on. So
For
who
sure.
else?
And like there are definitely like defensive holes in this
Oh
team.
yeah,
Like there are three fighting types in this team is not bulky. I just like you see a Torkoal, you see a Great Tusk, you see like an Alchemy there. This team is not bulky. It is
no,
I think it has the same uh the same type of weakness where as Rift Walker, excuse me, that team where it's like I'm all in on this gimmick, and I'm either going to run you over in the first few turns, or it's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, I think
With
that
that
holds
being
true.
said, though, with that being said, though,
It's easier
the
said than done to beat.
sure, yeah, and like you have to outplay it early, and even then, if you have a scarfed wake in the back, it you still just might lose.
Yeah.
So
All right. We're on the last couple here. Deke in the Cosmo Caterpies. Uh, Almost a weather team? Question mark. Um,
I've already made my thoughts on Baxcalibur very clear, so I
it's
will not
much better with
reiterate.
the
Sure.
with
Yeah,
the snow and everything.
with a snow setter, and if it's behind a veil, sure.
Yeah.
But at that
Um,
point, just throw it across the finish line with a catapult. I don't know.
I think spec, unless you get Terra, is so expensive because I think it's like 17 or 18 points, and I haven't seen it dominate.
But it's
Not
so good. But
I
it's
know
so good.
it's so hard to just because of like the stats, the 130, 145
But
is
you can't wall it with dark types anymore. It's so good.
no, but you can still wall it pretty easily with a bulky normal.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't feel like most teams. I don't even think they drafted like bulky normals though. Did they?
Actually, now that I think about it, initiate, I don't think many teams have bulky normals. This team doesn't even have a normal.
Yeah, like I mean,
Spec might go free in this division.
I no, like legitimately, I'm looking at all of the
No one
teams,
took Licky
and
Licky or like Miltank or
there's
anything.
no Licky Licky, no Miltank, no Snorlax, no what's even I can just look at the draft board. Uh I don't think people drafted, neither Ursaluna got picked up.
Oh, the bear didn't.
Um
Mama bears didn't get picked up.
neither got
Hmm.
taken.
Interesting. Well,
Um
that makes spec a lot better. So maybe maybe that's what Cosma or Deke saw was no one's taking these. I'm just gonna grab
no
spec.
one no one took Terrapagos. Uh was it bulky normal? Yep, no Snorlax, no I'm just looking down
That's
the
funny.
list here. I mean Porygon.
Yeah, did Porygon 2 get
uh
taken?
no.
Oh man, all
Omnic
right.
took
People
Omnic took
might.
regular Porygon.
You guys might have to start grabbing one of those when you're facing this team. Otherwise, choice spec or scarf spec may just clean, especially or just under veil with webs. So this team's got a lot of it's it's top heavy because Spidops and Dusclops are your 8 and 9 mon, but Spidops is useful. It will come
Fidops
to
is
more
good.
games. It
I
it forces prep,
hmm
and I think it'll come to more games than people think. I think it's going to be a lot of the top 6 again. I think Pex is fraudulent. I think you have to
yes.
run Bandit or Specs or whatever on it so it doesn't get set up on so easily. Sub feels so free on Toxapex. But I
No,
mean, yeah.
Pex and draft I think is such a trap. I don't I always think there's a better water type that you can pick up, especially for how many points it is.
Well, I think where he was in the draft, at that how late it was, he needed a water and a poison.
Oh yeah, no, and I can understand having like the roles that it fills. I understand needing those in certain spots. I'm just saying, like as just generally, I don't think it's good to draft.
No, I don't like it
This,
either.
I'm a little sad that both Baxcalibur and Toxapex got picked up over some of the other things that went free, but I do think that like this team as a whole, I think is still very good.
I think it is absolutely a hyper offense. It's a Veil hyper offense team.
Oh,
It
for
even
sure.
might even be on some games hyper offense Veil webs. Like it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and like I said, nothing that people drafted can really switch into this Spectrier. Like, Yeah, I mean, everyone has access to the doc. They can look at uh, the lack of bulky normals that
Yeah,
just plague every
I,
team.
yeah. I mean, it's funny to look at the speed tiers because I mean, again, fake, but it goes 87 to 35. So I mean, a lot of times I feel like you get to your mons in the 60s and below, and like if they're offensive, you're almost. A lot of people are just running modest in general. Like, I mean, just to run the bulk. I mean, how often? It does happen, but it's not as common as seeing like your 80s plus run 252 speed. Like it's uncommon down at the bottom tiers. So
Yeah.
okay, yeah, Deke, this is a scary team. I think it's gonna. This is I like it. There's a lot of offensive teams in this second half of the draft here. Ah, the name thief, Helix, the King's Gambit.
So already, Deoxys, Speed, and Annihilate made it on the same team. I don't think Dusclops is supposed to be there.
No, I think this is a speed one. Yeah. Dupiter. That's a cool looking little mon.
Well, Dupiter. I mean, it's a 1 point Weber.
It's just such a
And
low
then
stat 1 point Weber, but I think
if for the games that you need webs, I don't think you really care about the stats of your Weber. I think it's just there to come in one turn, web, die,
yeah,
get your momentum. So I think it's fine.
yeah. It's this team is it's 9 mons. Wait, it's 8. Is this a 9 yet? Excluding Dusclops, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an 8 mon draft in Dupiter. So a little top heavy. I think Serena is Terra. I've never seen it. Um,
Serena
but
Terra, I think is very good. I think
yeah,
I think that's a good Terra to get. I think I Deoxys Speed making it to round 5, I think is a little sussy. I mean,
I mean, whoever comes against this team has to bring removal. This is a hazard
oh
stacking team.
well, not just that, but you can easily get caught off guard with a Specs Psycho Boost or a Banded E Speed.
Oh, I think this is a Helix drafted a pretty solid team. I love Mega Aggron. I think it's one of the best steals in the draft for the points. It just doesn't die a lot. It gets to do something. Annihilate is, I think, a great Mon, Banded, Scarfed, Chesto, Resto, Encore, Bulk Up. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah, Wash with the Mega Aggron especially is very good.
Yes. I think Iron Moth pairs well there too. I mean, its special defense is 110 with 80 HP. It's especially pretty bulky, so I mean you're taking those overheats or those fire blasts really well that Mega Aggron doesn't want to heat, and then swapping in Rotom Wash on the earthquakes. So I think
For sure.
I think there's a lot of really good synergies here. I think its momentum is usable because Annihilate doesn't always want U-turn, but it can. Wash is almost always having Volt Switch, and Serena and Crobat almost always carry U-turn. So I think this is
Deoxys can teleport as well.
yeah, that's true. And Deoxys is bulkier than people forget it. 90-90, 50 not much, but 90-90 is not like it's not paper thin.
It can take something that isn't a knockoff usually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think it's a pretty good team. This one's kind of it's like top heavy balance. That's how this one feels.
I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yes, yes it is. But yeah, Helix, this is a good team.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, stole my
I
name,
think
but it's good.
and our hearts.
Halberd Holder and the 5 little chuddies. Um,
I want to say we haven't really been commenting too much
Meganium.
on the team names. I hate this team name.
I
It's
don't know.
so I hate it so much.
What is a chuddy? I'm so old.
It's
Don't tell me.
uh,
I'll
uh,
figure it out.
you ever heard of a Wojak?
All right. um,
Um, Goldango round one into the round two Qian Pao that was just left there
yeah, I don't understand how
is
that
is
happened.
certainly interesting. I will say Qian Pao surrounded by a Feeny and a Goldango is very defensively secure.
Yep.
Um, Clodsire as a just unaware wrench in whatever's
Fat
trying
ass
to set up
blubber
is
nugget.
great.
Yeah.
Terrastaraptor is
It was cheap. It was one we
it
booked. It was one we
was
messed up. It probably should have been 12 or 13 points, but
it
we
was
left
the
it.
same points as regular Staraptor, which I don't think it should
No,
be
I
at
think we missed
all.
that one. But hey, good for you for finding it. That's how you do
Yeah.
well in draft. But I've used Terra Staraptor. It does a lot of damage. It's like
It is
Brave
very
Bird.
hard to
Just
switch
no one
into.
swaps into Brave Birds.
Cleavor, I think I love Cleavor personally.
I just don't think
Um
it's very. It's just
yeah,
not as good as
but free
Samurott.
rocks. Well, sure, but that's why it's less points,
I know, but
right?
like the two are comparable in the sense that like sharpness sets hazards. It's just Cecil's Edge is so much more spammable than like Stone Axe. Stone Axe still is its best rock move to spam because it gets up to like 95 and the accuracy is not 12. Um, but I like Cleaver. I think it's a cool looking mon. I think Terra Meganium is the way. Um, it just sucks
The
that it's a
way
little.
for you to lose every game.
No, we stand this mon. It's such a
What does
great
it
design.
do? What does
I
it
don't
do?
care. It has Terra Blast. It can be fairy. It's bulky. It can run hazards. It's it's just a classic like Gen 1, Gen 2 mon where they're like, yeah, let's just throw the stats really even across the whole thing, which makes it kind of bulky and harder to predict. But I mean, yeah, you're gonna run like I'm pretty
Base
sure.
100 defenses is not. I don't know if I'd call that bulky, but
I mean, it is bulkier than you think, but with like
you know what? It
synthesis,
is.
leech seed and stuff, and you change the typing from grass to fairy poison something. I mean, it's definitely not as bad. I don't think it's gonna come very much, but I was just happy to see someone take Meganium because I'm
It
old, so I'm a big
does.
Gen 2 fan.
It does have moves. I'll give it that. It does have a move pool that isn't just grass, which, if I remember correctly, I may be mixing this up with a different starter. I thought one of Meganium's problems was that it just had no moves, but it does have moves that you can bring. So
Superior has 0 moves.
Superior, okay, yeah, Superior doesn't have moves,
But it has contrary leaf storm.
yeah,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean
there's a
you can.
Latios, there's Rotom Heat, Fenny. I mean, this is like, I mean,
It's just a really solid tight. I think minus the Meganium, I think there's like a solid there's a solid 8 that I think that you're gonna have to prep for every week.
oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, I don't know. And Feeny can go offensive, defensive. They can do like the trapping, whirlpool, nature's madness, garbage. I mean, just about everything on this team besides maybe the Clodsire. But even then, like, you can get away with like a curse set maybe. But I think everything on this team has the capacity to be offensive, which I think is going to be hard for a lot of people to prep for.
yeah, it's good. I think it's going to be a tough one to prep for. Goldango can go full Fizz Def, Fenny either way, Rotom Heat either
Yeah.
way, Claude, good unaware Mon, a really good Toxic Spiker, good good Spiker. So yeah, this is a good team. It's another. I think this is leans a little more offensive, but it's still pretty balanced. And last but not least, our favorite Cradilly Queen, Requiem, and her Dragonite of Dojima.
So
Do we just leave it at Cradilly and we just end the video?
we are recording this after some of the week one games have already been played, but um, was it that wasn't a giveaway? But um, So I think all three of these low tier Terras are really, really good. Driftplim is, I think people forget that it exists because it's just done nothing for so long.
It's such a stupid looking
Um,
mon.
it's
I didn't even know it had. It's got like a really bad wig on top of it. Like, is that a
it's a
hairpiece?
it's a cloud.
Yeah, but it looks
It's
like a
a hot air
hairpiece.
balloon.
Yeah, I know, but it looks like a
I
hairpiece.
always when I was younger, I thought it was like whipped cream. I thought someone had spilled like whipped cream on it, but uh I mean, this team, we're talking about. I don't think this is a top heavy team by any means. I think
No.
every mod on this team, uh, you have to prep for because it's going to be really scary. You don't want to find out once you once you've already loaded into the match that Terra Crocolore can 6-0 you, which it can, by the way. Um,
Oh, it
everything
has
on this team
90
is
special
scary.
attack. I don't think I knew that. That's way more than I thought it did.
Crocolore is
It's a little,
it's scary.
little shit. It's. I love it. I mean, just on a side note, like the little. I don't watch the anime, but I only like seen the clips where Fuecoco has like no brain cells. Like it just is like open mouth smiling the whole time, and they took that away from our boy. Crocolore looks like a goofy guy with a sombrero. So upsetting. It's just
But
such a de-evolution.
but I mean like Green Arena is scary both as like both offensively and defensively. Latias is the same deal. Corviknight's the same deal. Darkrai, you're probably bringing the same set every week, but it's still like it's a Darkrai. You do have to. I know. There, I have heard the fraud
They're
allegations
not
for
allegations. They're
Darkrai.
real. They're
Okay,
absolutely
all right,
real.
that's there it is. Yeah, okay. No, I completely disagree. I think Darkrai is really impressive. I think when you have to ban sleep for it to not uh ruin laddering for everyone, I think that's a sign
I
that
mean,
Amon's pretty.
it hit. It's a 60% hit. It's not spore. We're not talking spore. We're talking hypnosis. Like it's just not.
Well, that's
I,
that's why you run that's why you run wide lens.
I mean, and then jumps it up to 66%.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
mean, I guess you take what you can get. I don't think. I mean, it's it's a weird mon in that it has really good speed set at 125 and really good special attack at 135, and it's
Well,
got
its bulk isn't even bad.
no, but the bulk does not feel that strong because Moonblast in close combat just fry it, and like close combat is everywhere, and the fighting types they've added are so good. Like, I mean, it's I get it. It's a good one. I just don't think it's 20 points. If you put it at like 16 for me, I'd think that'd probably be, which is probably too low considering what it can do. I just feel like it never does. I don't know. I'll get off my soapbox. I don't know. But
But
I
but
think
what
Requiem's
if
team
you
is
hit the
good.
hypnosis though? What if
I
you
mean,
hit the
yeah, if you
hypnosis
hit the
though?
hypnosis, it's a high value, high. It's a high reward, high risk, or high reward, high risk play. Like if you hit it, it's great. You can like win almost from that
Yeah,
position
well, you
pretty
get a
quick.
free turn when you have a Latias, a Mega Lopunny, a Primarina, a Darkrai. Like, I
It's a
just
good. I mean, this is a really good team. I like Requiem's team. I love the Nido Queen just thrown in there.
Nidoqueen is very good. I mean, you're talking about like close combat and Moonblast. Well, there's your Nidoqueen right there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
And
not
SpongeBob.
saying that Darkrai doesn't do well on this team. I think it does. I'm just saying in general, Darkrai is a
Hmm.
fraud. It's fraudulent. I don't know if frauds are, but it's fraudulent. It's not beating its case right now in any league I've seen it in.
Well, that'll change. This Darkrai is gonna it's gonna do things.
Yeah, I mean, it did in week one.
Well, I mean, it didn't need to.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, Requiem's got a good team. She drafted well. Her Terras are very solid. It's a fast team, but also has pretty good bulk towards the end of the draft. Terra captains are good. Only thing is it's got no spikes, but that's not like a.
Well, when everything on this team hits as hard as it does, I don't know. I think because like you don't need like okay, Latias and Darkrai are definitely like you need setup for them to break things typically. But I would say I mean like Primarina is so good.
It's so ugly, but
It's
yeah, it's so
it's
good.
so good at breaking things. Like it's you never want to switch in on it. Lopunny's the same way. It's just Driftblim, Terra Driftblim is gonna 6-0 someone this season. It's criminal that it was that few points, but you know. I don't know. I really like this team. Um definitely one of my favorites. Uh for sure. I like that Crocolore was Terran so that it can actually come to games.
Oh yeah, I mean it's good. I think it's a really good team. Again, I don't know. There's not. I think the biggest issue is there's not a big special or not special, but a big fat physical wall. But I think the resistances for the big physical attacking mons is pretty good. So it should probably be just fine.
I feel like Corviknight's a pretty good physical wall.
Yeah, it just doesn't. I mean, banded close combat still does a ton.
Well, sure, but that's what your Drifblim's for.
Yeah, gotta come to
I'm gonna sing that Drifblim's praises until
stupid ass
until it does
haircut.
something.
Come on. Yeah. All right. We don't really put them in order. We're not going to. We just kind of run through them here for initiate. But hey, really good drafts, guys. We look forward to watching your games this year, and we'll try to get recaps for you every week if we can. Don't hold us to it, but we'll try to get them done the best we can.
Yeah, I hope we can. For sure, I think we'll. I mean, we'll do. I mean, we're obviously gonna watch every game, but yeah, the recaps will come or they won't. But
Yeah, don't ask for them, please.
yeah,
Busy
but
folks here. All right, guys.
sure.
With that, we'll sign off, and we'll see you guys here soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.